Please be advised, Gaggle of Geeks contains strong opinions that may contain language unsuitable for young children. Now here are your hosts, Patrick Beatty and Chaz Campbell Evans.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What's up? This is new because you might be wondering, why is Chaz here alone? Well, it's because our dear friend Patrick Beatty is covering some Sundance stuff. So if you want to check out some 2021 Sundance reviews, go over to patrickbeattyreviews.com and catch his latest stuff. Follow him on all social medias because he's been updating with every viewing what his thoughts are. But thankfully, today, I am not left alone. I am joined with me by one and only Jay Moore.
Hey, what's going on? You
Buddy,
think I'm going to
what's
leave you
up?
by yourself, man? No way.
I know. I'm like, Patrick, I'm not doing this by myself. Like, what the fuck? Like, who do you think you are, man?
This is too true. But it's all good because I'm here to have a good time. It's been a while since I've been on the show, so it's always good to be back on Gaggle of Geeks.
How are you doing? How's your week?
The week has been a little bit busy, considering California got a little bit of rain a couple days ago, and I believe it is starting back up here in about an hour. So, it is what it is. I'm taking it one day at a time. Me and Luther just stayed here most of the day and not doing anything.
Well, most importantly, it's Friday, and welcome to the show.
It is Friday. I mean, we did that all backwards, but I mean, yeah, we did it backwards. It's Friday, Chaz. And I'm having a great day.
That's good. I'm hoping Patrick's having a fun day doing a Sundance.
Yeah, shout out to the producer of our show, by the way. Yeah,
doing all the hard work.
Sundance thing, man.
But
we're just trying to make his job easier.
Yes, we are. So should we just start the show off right off the back and say that we're going to be talking about Wandavision?
Yes, Wandavision. I've been wanting to talk with you guys about this show since it started, man.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to dive deep into it because you are, what's the word I'm looking for? More into it than I am, comic book wise. So I'm glad that I have
for the most part,
that back support for that.
Yes, I am a nerd, people. I'm a blurred. That's a black nerd. Okay. Yeah, I got it off of Blackish. It was funny.
So before we dive deep, do you want to give me your basic thoughts on this without giving too much spoilers, and then we will do a spoiler alert?
Yes, actually, it was incredible. Actually, most of the questions, if you've been watching the show, most of the questions that you have from the first three episodes start to get answered. And the actually majority of your questions, if not all of them, get answered in the fourth episode. And moving on from that, I would like to see how they tackle those questions. I'm just trying to keep it spoiler free the best way I can. But most of your questions get answered in this episode. And I was kind of figuring out when they were going to actually answer your questions. And this came quick. That was quick. I didn't expect a quick response from Marvel with the whole, let's just answer this. Let's show this. Let's do this. Oh, man, I don't want to spoil anything yet.
Well, my thoughts are, I thought it was okay. I didn't understand the huge hype for it until one of my friends later on the day sent me this video kind of going into like where it can go. I'm like, oh, well, if you're not a nerd, like a comic book nerd, you're not going to get any of that at all because like I just follow the movies. But this goes past the movies, mentions some of the stuff, but it goes deeper into the lore, if you will. So
right.
Without further ado, then let's do this. I've always wanted to do this. Ready for this?
Yeah, sure. It doesn't matter what you got.
That's the spoiler alert.
You have been waiting such a long time to do that.
I have, dude. It's fun. I know. I understand why Patrick always does it to me in the middle of a sentence.
Right? Like you're like talking, and all of a sudden, you know what? Where's the 5 button?
Like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I am the
man.
wrath of God right now, sir.
It feels good having a little bit of power, though, don't it?
Dude, it does. It really does. This layout is really fun. So for those of you who don't know, I'm not used to this layout at all. So this is kind of fun, just kind of experimenting with it. I logged on a little bit early just to think around with it. So
Yeah. And
But-
I've been here being the test dummy, so it's been great.
So okay, let's give a synopsis of what exactly happens in WandaVision episode 4, because it definitely changes perspectives to say the least.
All right. Well, if you paid attention to episode 3, Wanda's knocked up. Yeah. I don't know how that shit's possible. I mean, hey, I'm a robot, but I'm gonna put some bolts and nuts inside of you, and
Yeah, he
make
literally, kind of
a little baby there.
kind
How
of
that's possible, I don't know. Not to mention, how the hell do you still have the time stone on your head? I'm trying to figure that out too. And that question got answered as well. Oh wait, we're in spoiler alert now, right? So I can just start talking. All right, cool. Most of the synopsis comes from the last episode, finding out that Wanda's pregnant. After finding out that Wanda's pregnant, Vision starts to kind of think that something's just not right here.
right.
Especially since she's like 6 months fucking pregnant in an episode, which is a little bit weird. There is something that before we go forward though, there is something that I did notice on some of the posts earlier that I was reading in some of the forums that I'm part of. And they were saying, how is it that we're going from, the 40s to the 50s into the 60s. Now we're in the 70s. And it's like, all right, we're getting ready to come into hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop was born in the 80s. I want to see how they do that. Are the kids gonna have some soul with them or what? You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just trying to figure that out, like why was the time frames different, and how long have the time frames been going on? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because Patrick and I were talking about, his theory. Was it 2 weeks ago when we were doing the
2 weeks ago
show? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was onto something, but then this episode kind of skewed it just a little bit, but it's still onto something. So yeah, I don't know, man. I was expecting this episode to be about the 80s, and it definitely was not about the 80s at all.
Yeah, I was expecting that too, because I'm an 80s kid. I came out the womb in 86, all right? So I'm expecting to see, like a big ass boom box on your shoulder. And the one thing I did appreciate about this episode was Rambo's hair. I mean, look, I know what it's like to live with a black woman, i.e. my wife, my mom, my grandmother, my aunts, you know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that the presence that Rambo had, now that we know that she's Monica Rambeau, you know what I'm saying? Now that we know who she is in the show, I wanted to make sure that they represented African Americans right. And getting that right would be making sure you have the fro. Are you okay there? You're kind of frozen on me there. You good?
Am I frozen?
Oh, you were.
You're
You're good. You're good. You're good. So just making sure that everything was right. You know what I mean? Like you,
right.
And black women are very particular about their hair. I would know. So making sure that the hair was right was one thing that I wanted. I mean, the outfit, they can make any outfit look good, period. Doesn't matter what year it was. See, my dad would probably like watching this episode because he grew up during that time frame, and so forth and so forth. So the clothes don't really make the person, it's how you're perceived in the clothes. I just wanted to make sure the representation for African Americans were good throughout the whole entire episode. And they were. Even the neighbor who was chopping stone instead of chopping the tree, which I'm kind of on edge about, because how is it that Vision missing, or does Vision even know he's there? You know what I mean?
Well,
like
that's kind of my thing, is because like I don't think they were able to ever penetrate the field, right? Okay, well let's set this up real quick. So this episode plays the part of you said Sword, right? That's the organization, which from my understanding is like Avengers but in space or something like that. Like that's how somebody described it.
Actually, they're kind of like Shield, but in space.
Shield.
Okay. Shield is more on the Earth side, so it's pretty much like you have the FBI that's here for the States, and then you have the CIA that's international. You know what I mean? So, did you just do that?
I did just do that.
Oh man, I shouldn't have said that. I should have just let that play off. But and I just watched the replay. Oh man. But honestly, no, that's kind of what Sword is. Sword is pretty much the Shield of space.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So this picks up basically with her waking up in a hospital, everything's going chaotic, right? And then
Monica Rambeau waking up in a
Rambeau, yeah. And it reveals that the last thing she remembers was sitting at her mom's side because her mom's dying. And she finally finds out that her mom died 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Because the cancer had come back.
The cancer had come back, and they didn't know where she went because it turns out she was part of the blip that Thanos caused in the Avengers.
Right.
And so when they finally came back, and so this is taking place after Endgame, which we know for sure now. And that pretty much sets it into motion where she comes across with Sword, right? This town that they can't enter because there's a force field of some sort.
There's literally a force field around the town.
Yeah, and she finally she goes in. I don't know about how does she go in? I don't.
She kind of gets sucked in like like Thanos did when he snapped his fingers in front of Thor. Like that's kind of how he went in. You know how she went in. She put her hands in, she pulled her hands out real quick, and then all of a sudden she put her hands in again, and it literally pulled her in. She didn't just walk in, it pulled her in.
Yeah. And before that though, it's revealed that we have characters from like Thor. One of the scientists from the Thor movie is actually part of Sword to help out, figure out what exactly this is. You're on mute, sir.
Sorry, I never thought that I would see her again unless she was going to be in a Thor movie with Jane Foster.
And here we are.
And here we are. And you know what? She does. I honestly like her a lot better than Dr. Selvig.
Wow.
And the reason why I like her better than the guy who plays Selvig is because she's more nerdy, but she knows her shit. And I like that about her. Like she has a younger perspective of the situation, as in having an older yet dated part of the situation. And if she knows who Sword is and Shield, then she kind of knows what's going on in the background. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which means if that's the case, then that means Selvig is more of the Shield guy. She's more of the Sword guy. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a place for them all.
Right. Well, and the what I found fascinating too is they didn't know exactly what's beyond the field, except that it was giving off a bunch of readings of like nuclear power almost. Basically, they could destroy, like the amount of power it had could destroy like a whole town essentially. Like that's how much power was within this thing, and they had no idea who was in it until after Rambeau gets sucked in, and they find a TV station that has Wanda, and they're like, "Whoa, is that actually her?" Like,
right.
So this is what I mean when it completely switches perspectives, where this is focused on the Sword side. Like we're on the other side of the force field in this episode rather than being in there, and we're watching it from their perspective and seeing exactly how they try to make contact with her, and how Rambeau is like totally in disguise, you know, like just being part of the world, like not even planned, essentially. Like
But
she's winging it.
Yeah, and has no memory of what's going on while she's in there and doesn't figure everything out until she gets out.
Yep.
That's crazy. Not to mention, everyone for some reason can see Vision, but they're like, he doesn't know. So why? I mean, I'm sitting here like, if you don't know, then bitch, tell me what the hell's going on so I can kind of rectify.
Right. Well, and I know what is her name? The scientist.
Oh, you know what? I have no idea who it is, but I'm about to look it up right now too, because I forgot what her name was too. Not to mention, wasn't she in Two Girls or something like that on CBS? She was part of that cast or something like that.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Let me look that up right now. I
want to say her character's name right.
believe it's Cassie.
Darcy Lewis.
Darcy Lewis, played by Kat Dennings.
Yep. So Kat Dennings' character is back as Darcy Lewis, but basically she's the one that kind of pieces together the puzzle pieces, and like even this swords, like, yeah, what the heck is this? Like what exactly is going on? And she mentions like he's dead. Like she's talking about Vision. She says he's dead, right? Like
she's dead.
Like there's no way he's actually existing. And as the episode plays out, you kind of realize that whatever reality is happening within that shield, that force shield, is created by Wanda. Like this is her own reality that she's created.
Reality area, yeah.
And we saw that she's able to manipulate the area, especially after she pushes Rambo out, like the force field, right? And she puts together the house back, and like they even notice the weird edits. Like watching the previous episodes, there's always those weird edits where she like goes back and changes an outcome, right? But they noticed that in this, where it's just a weird cut, and all of a sudden like the credits roll, and they're like, "What just happened?" You know, like. And so she's controlling what they see too, which I think is really a fun concept.
And who would have thought that Ultron's name would have been brought up in this episode? After all this time, he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? Wait, what? Are you serious? And then, like, oh man, there's so much that's just like a little bit off. And I'm still trying to figure out, why was the dude, the neighbor, go from cutting the tree to cutting the wall? And what I think he's doing is he's trying to cut his way out of the reality. He's trying to make like a pathway that Wanda's not going to pay attention to. You know what I mean? Like,
so do you think that he's actually part of the town? Like, do you think the town people are being held hostage against their will, or?
Well, remember they identified every single person through whatever atheist system that they have. So these are missing people. You know what I mean? Like, Wanda kidnapped these people. It's either that or they were just passing through and they got stuck in this shit and didn't know that they were stuck in this shit. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm just like, ooh, let some WandaVision shit happen to me and my wife. We gonna milk the shit out of this vacation. At least that way we going to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, we can't go nowhere. Okay, fine. We won't go nowhere. We'll follow the rules or whatever. But if we ain't got to go to work and we're considered missing people, along with our kid, can't leave him out of it. At least he come out of this a grown man and knows exactly what he's doing. You know, cool.
So let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
So I say this episode is okay, just because it's with 3 episodes we were following Wanda's perspective, right? And this one changes, right. But I feel like part of me feels like, I mean, I think it's like 8 episodes, like the season, right? That's what they have scheduled. So this is literally the midway point anyway. But I almost felt like showing us exactly what is going on in the outside world kind of left the mystery of Wanda's perspective like anticlimactic, essentially, because the first 3 episodes we were like, okay, what the hell's going on? Like, what is it? Like, we had our own theories, and by the 4th episode they're like, well, your theories are wrong or your theory is right, you know, here's everything, right?
All of your questions are answered.
So now going forward, it's like, okay, well, what's left? And like, what mystery is left? Like, why is she creating that field? or like, and like that's interesting. Right. Like I almost wanted to find out about this agency at the end of the season, like all from her perspective. You know what I mean?
Okay. Right. So my question is, do you seriously think that Hydra has something to do with it? Because you got to remember, throughout the last 3 or 4 episodes, we've seen commercials for Strucker. We've seen commercials for Hydra. You know what I'm saying? We've seen multiple. We've seen commercials for Stark. You know what I mean?
We have merch for you at tpublic.com/Patrick Beatty Reviews. Whether it be a sweatshirt, a Gaggle of Geeks shirt, whatever you want, check them out, and we will see you at the next review.
There we go, right there.
Did you like that cut? It was like really intrusive, like cool. WandaVision, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was kind of cool. It's kind of like WandaVision. That was perfect. I like it. I hope Patrick doesn't get all mad about it. Anyways, but no, like, do you seriously think that Hydra might still be in the picture even after everything that's happened? Because
I mean, maybe. I mean, that's like asking like let's compare it to like with Nazis and the Holocaust, right? I mean, that was so long ago, and it's still relevant today. And then like. That's like saying like people like Hydra is all of a sudden non-existent. That's crazy because people are always going to be extreme. So it's probably just a new formation of Hydra, kind of like how Sword is a new formation of Shield. Like it's like a hybrid, right? There's going to be a hybrid. Right. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a hybrid of Hydra, whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it makes sense. I see where your point is, and I totally have to agree with that. I was just gonna say something's a little bit off. I see why you say the episode's okay. You know what I mean? Because something still doesn't make sense. Like, it's either Wanda's being controlled to do this, and she's playing off her own emotions, or she's doing this all on her own, and she found a designated area, but didn't. Like, what am I trying to say here? I guess I should just start at the beginning of the episode where. They were just like, the officers are like, we ain't never heard of Westview. Where are you guys from? Eastview. Well, what's Eastview? That's where we're from. And then the fact that they called the FBI guy, Wu, I believe that's what his name is. They called him a G-man. I thought was still kind of funny. I was just like, okay.
Who is that actor? I love him. I think he's like hilarious.
That actor is Randall Park.
Yeah, I think he's a funny guy.
He is a very funny guy. Not to mention, he did really good in what is it, Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he did pretty good in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I feel like he's the same character as one of the Howling Commandos from Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home, like the principal, but I'm actually wrong. He's actually not. But I guess don't knock me because I'm racist, okay? They're both Asian guys, okay? So they kind of like, he could be, he couldn't be, but I mean, it's just off of first glance, you're like, wait a second, is he the principal from, Peter Parker's school, who happens to be the grandson of a Howling Commando? You know what I mean? Like, it brings back so much, even for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a little bit for me, this brings a lot back. The lineage that Marvel went through for Monica Rambeau, and then you have Captain Marvel, and then you have Randall Park and Ant-Man and the Wasp. You have Darcy Lewis and both Thor movies, not the third one. She wasn't in the third one, but you know what I mean? Like, you have, the history here, and then even bringing back, Wanda Maximoff's brother, Quicksilver, of course, who died at the hands of Ultron. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you're bringing back all this nostalgia, and it's like, fuck, man, they did a great fucking job. Like, I think they nailed it on the head with covering their bases on a lot of the Easter eggs, a lot of the questions that you've had from the first 3 episodes as of what the fuck is going on, and why are we watching a 70 or Why are we watching I Love Lucy right now?
Right.
Now, I don't know if you're old enough to remember I Love Lucy. I am. I actually did watch I Love Lucy.
I'm offended,
So,
sir.
hey, I'm just saying.
Just
You
you'd be
guys
surprised.
been talking-
We actually covered that in my film school, so I'm offended.
Oh, I'll give it to you then. Cool. But like the whole black and white nostalgia of I Love Lucy and Ricky Ricardo and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Yeah, I guess now I question if this is going to be a one season time thing, like a limited series, where it does tie into maybe Doctor Strange, because Patrick mentioned that a couple episodes ago.
I remember that. And
And
it was weird because I was taking a shower as I was listening to the episode. So I was listening to it and I was like, wait a second. He's got a point. What if this does lead into Doctor Strange and the multiverse? Or what if this is a prequel to Falcon and the Winter Soldier that's going to be coming out in March, which is right around the time that WandaVision is going to end?
yeah, and I guess my question then is if this is a limited series, then I guess they do have to wrap it up rather quickly. And the fact they did mention in this episode that whatever force of energy is within this force field is enough to destroy a whole town or a whole whatever, that's how much power it has. I guess I wonder how exactly they're gonna kind of calm her down and bring her back to reality, and what her reaction's initially going to be,
Right. And I was thinking that too, how are they going to do that? They don't have anything to kind of limit her power unless they go to the raft and get the stuff from the raft from Captain America Civil War. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here's another question I have. Who has Vision's body? Where's Vision's body at? Is that back with Stark in the Avengers, or is that still in Wakanda, with the technology that Wakanda has? You know what I mean? Where's Vision's body? Or you know what I'm saying?
Because I think he's made up in her mind. I don't think he actually exists,
Right.
Which
but yet he has a subconscious, which is still weird if he's a made up thing. You know what I mean? Because if he's a made up thing, then she would know that he's.
Well, unless because when he starts questioning stuff, she kind of her walls go back up and then she restarts stuff, right? The only reason that didn't happen with the neighbor and the guy trimming the hedges or whatever is because she wasn't there. She was dealing with Rambo.
Birth.
Yeah. She was doing all that in the house, and so that's why it led him to question it. But I wonder if that's her subconsciousness, being questioning it herself, and her walls go up, being nope, you're trapped here. You're defending yourself essentially,
Right. And here's another thing. What about his boss, the Hearts, where he was, what was he, choking on something or getting ready to pass out or something like that? And she's like, Vision, help him. You know what I mean? And then her keep repeating himself her husband didn't even exist. You know what I mean? Is that a whole mind control thing? What the hell was that? You know what I mean? So there is a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unfathom still going forward. Is there dementia going on here? Do these people have pre-existing conditions or something like that? You know what I mean? What's school dance? Or school fair. Where are the kids at? There's only 2 kids, and the only kids that I saw were the ones that we saw in today's episode. You know what I'm saying? Where's the school? Where's the police officers that normally patrolling around the area? Who the hell's the mayor? And what the hell happened to the white lady who said, there's one way for us to, fix this. A wife fixes this. They do it themselves. You know what I'm saying? What happened to that lady? You know what I mean? Do you have her so in tune with her comatose or whatever the hell it is that, she can't defy you or anything like that? And just remember in the last episode too, even Monica Rambeau's character was I don't even know what I'm doing here. You know what I'm saying? Hell, Wanda was shit, neither do I. So does Wanda even know what's going on with her? Or is she being controlled?
I think I think it's like a PTSD kind of defense mechanism from
Right.
the loss of vision, and because Endgame fucked everybody up. I mean, we saw how
Yeah,
chaotic
it
the
did.
hospital was in the very beginning of this episode. You know, with
Right.
Rambo coming out of the blip, being like, "Yo,
Right.
where's my mom?" Well, she did.
Yeah, not even seeing that the whole damn hospital was packed. And seeing and the way, and you know what? I have to give Marvel credit for this in the edits, because the way they brought everybody back from the blip was crazy. Remember when Thanos fucking snapped his finger and everybody just kind of like disappeared out? If you're looking at the edits properly, it's reassembling everybody as they were. And I thought that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
To actually see that happening in person. I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah. So what overall then, like, what would you give this episode, and what do you think's in the next episode? Because they don't give teases.
No, they don't. A couple minutes before the episode. I think for me, if I were to have to give this out of 10, because Patrick does it out of 10, right? I have to give this a good 8. And here's the reason why I'm giving it an 8. I'm giving it an 8 based off of the fact that most of the questions that I had from the first 3 episodes, at least 90% of my questions got answered. But now new answers are forming. So are they going to answer those questions for me going forward? So that's why I have to give this an 8. And I know 8 might be a little bit high, but I'm only doing that, like I said, based off of the fact that all the questions I had from the first 3 episodes got answered in episode 4. Well, at least 90% of them anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I give it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 10. No, I'm just kidding. 3 out of 5. I like the 5 rating, but only because, like you said, the answers were or the questions were answered, but like there was stuff that we already kind of suspected, so it felt very repetitive in that sense. And I really feel like they could have gone more with Horror World and really show us exactly what's going on there, and then reveal all this at the end. You know what I mean? Like, it's a huge climax to finally answer everything.
Right. And you know what I just realized too? You're right. This is your show today. So I should do this off of a 5-point scale. So I would have to give this a 3. You know what I mean? I would have to give this a 3, and I would totally agree with you for that same exact reason. And that is not a bad looking shirt on you, man. I actually, that is so the nice. Next shirt I am going to get, man. And it feels good too, right? They're nice and comfortable, right?
They are,
they're breathable. It's not
very breathable, very light.
Yeah. Make sure you plug that inside the little banner on the bottom there.
I'm looking for it. Where is it?
So I mean, you know, overall, it's still a pretty good show. And I'm enjoying myself because it is actually nice to see something Marvel on TV, especially on a weekly basis. It's not like we're going to get Black Widow anytime soon. You know, even though that's been confirmed to that she is coming back. How, I don't know. You know, if that's the case, are they going to bring back Gamora? You know what I mean? Like, she's the one who died to make the stone to begin with. And now she's alive, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I seriously, and this is my thought with the multiverse, because I know a lot of people are excited for it, and you know, this is going forward with that. I just hope they don't bring back characters for the sake of bringing them back, and they actually serve a purpose. Because a lot of these characters did die, and like if you bring them back in such a cheap fashion, then like it undoes a lot of like what you built up previously.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like how they're going to do the Snyder Cut.
No.
I'm just kidding. Oh man, see, we're having too much fun. We're having too much fun with this show, man. I mean, this is actually very fun.
Did you have any last thoughts on WandaVision? No, fuck.
WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah. I saw the Wonder Woman banner over here, and I'm like, no.
All right. I actually don't. I think I pretty much answered most of my questions that I even had, you know what I mean, in discussing it with you and talking it out. I am actually interested to see what debrief Rambo is going to give in episode 5. I do kind of wish that these episodes would be a little bit more longer than a half an hour. Because you can get a lot more into the show or information into the show. It's either that or while they were filming the show, COVID happened. So they kind of had to, kind of stop. Like, was this filmed before COVID or was this filmed, during COVID? You know what I mean? Like,
well, going off that, the thing I like about the shorter episodes is that it does feel like a sitcom, which is trying to parody. Because sitcoms are only like, what, 23, 24 minutes without commercials?
Yeah, just about.
And so these are exactly like almost a half hour, in fact.
Not to mention, they plug in their own commercial, which is freaking crazy. I was like, wow.
We have merch for you.
Like that. Plug in like that.
Oh, man. That caught me by surprise. I was like, no, I'm having too much fun with this episode, man. This was a great episode, and I'm glad that most of my questions got answered in a fashion that I'm suitable with. So yeah, were most of your questions answered through this episode though?
They were either confirmed or they were just like left open. Answered. I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, did I want them answered this soon? Like that's what I'm saying is like, okay, well, where are they going from now? Because now we know that this is definitely her own world. What else can you do to kind of make this more creative? Like they have been, like they've been having a lot of fun, kind of parodying these era shows, like with the 70s and the 60s and all that. So, and right. I thought this episode's going to be about the 80s, just because that would fall next in line. And she is an Olsen, right? And they did confirm that they kind of stole from Full House to copy something. So I was excited for that. Then last night, or was it last night? Yeah, yesterday, I saw on Twitter that Disney released a 1-minute teaser, which is her Rambo with the force field, and I'm like, this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that shit either. I really wasn't. After I saw that, and even my wife Derek, she saw it, and she was like, "Is everything okay in that show?" I was like, I can't answer that question until after I watch this episode, and then I can answer the question and let you know whether or not it's okay to watch it or not. Yeah. Because she's like, nah, she's the kind of girl, like, if she's gonna watch a show, she doesn't want to wait, week after week. She just wants to binge watch the whole thing, which I thought that's what we were getting. But in a sense, it's kind of smart for them to do it that way because it does lead up to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I hope you guys would have me back on every episode for, because no, I'm dead serious. The captain stays on the wall, and I'm a big Captain America fan as well as a Sam Wilson fan. I do love Anthony Mackie as Falcon. I think he does a very, very great job, but I think this is leading towards that. And the way I see these episodes is now we're going to get a chance to see what Avengers we're going through after the whole Thanos thing, what really happened to Wanda. So now we're figuring out what happened to Wanda, and I'm sure we're going to find out what happened to Vision. Next, we're going to find out what happened to Bucky and what happened to Sam. You know what I'm saying? Then we get to find out what's happening to Loki. And then we get, what is it? Love and God of what is
Thor.
It? Thor, Love and Thunder or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is still a crazy ass name in itself. I can't even tell you. I would Love and Thunder or God and Thunder or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, who came up with these names? You know what I mean? So we're getting a chance to see what's happening to every single character after everything happened. And actually, to be honest, the very first person we saw everything happen to was Peter Parker. And Far From Home. You know what I mean?
Is that after Endgame? That's after Endgame, right?
It was after Endgame. It was after the blip, because you got to remember he was blipped away.
I remember. Tony, I don't feel so well.
Help me. And like I'm watching the reaction. Like I actually took like maybe an hour out of my day to watch these people's reactions and laughed every single time because I'm like, look, I didn't. The only time I really truly got emotional during the movie through everything was when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer and when Captain America handed his shield to Sam Wilson. Thought that was a powerful moment. And yeah, I teared up for that because it just shows the diversity of one, they're keeping up with the comic, and two, they're showing that Captain America doesn't have to be white. And I hope next when they go to pass down the shield, they pass it to a female, you know, and in keeping up with the comic in some way, even if it is in a different timeline. I think it would be good if they did that because it'll show that we stand with, you know, LGBTQ or whatever it is, not just to stay face for money, but because they actually do care and the characters that are portraying them actually care too. So I would definitely love to see that going forward. But I think all these episodes going forward, you know, all these shows coming up that Disney Plus has, not just WandaVision, but, you know, everything else in between all that is what's happening to these characters afterwards. And who knows, maybe Wakanda rebuilt Vision's head. They just need a reliable power source to power him, you know what I mean? Like something that's just as crazy as the Mind Stone, you know what I'm saying? Like who knows? Or is he actually a corpse? And
I hope he's a corpse, man. I really hope everybody who died in Endgame, I really do hope stays dead. As awful as that sounds.
right.
And like with Captain America being old, you know, and leaving, saying like I you know, like I don't think I will or whatever.
Yeah,
if he comes back, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck was the point of that scene then? It's like Stranger Things. Here, like this is a really side tangent, but Stranger Things. Another spoiler alert.
Never watched the last couple of episodes. Seasons. Okay. I've only watched the first two.
I won't spoil it for you then. But I'm just saying I had a similar reaction because it turns out a character is coming back, and I'm like, dude, you literally pulled the heartstrings just for him to come back. Like, what the fuck?
Are you talking about the fat chick that went through the tunnel or something like that? I think I saw a clip of that. Or am I completely off on that?
I think you're completely off.
Oh, okay. The one that got swallowed up at the pool or whatever, and you know she went missing and blah blah blah.
Oh, dude, no. There's more shit that happens, but there is a character, like a main character, that was left kind of like unanswered. And the latest promo trailer, like it shows that like, oh, actually he might be still alive. And it's just like, literally you had such a heart touching moment with a letter and all this stuff. And you're like, well, fuck it. Let's bring him back for fan service. Like that, it pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So if they do that with America or Captain America or any of these characters that did die during Endgame, I'm going to be kind of sad because then it's like, well, what was the consequence then? There are no consequences if you keep bringing back characters.
Right, and you have to remember exactly what the what's the bald lady from Doctor Strange, the enchanted one or whatever her name is.
The ancient one?
The ancient one. You have to remember what she said. If you take, you know, if you're looking at it, especially through Endgame, if you take this little piece out, this will be your timeline, and this will completely mess up the time stream. But even if you put this back in the same place, who's to say that you haven't already messed up the time stream going forward? Right. And that was her point. And now I'm starting to see and get what your point is based off of that part in Endgame. So, man, this was
I know. Well, I know. And like with Endgame, I was like, and I'll be on record saying I wasn't a fan of Infinity Wars. I thought it was half-assed, really anticlimactic, actually. And you know, people were shocked that they were disappearing, and I get that. But like what really kind of irked me was when Spider-Man was disappearing for whatever fucking reason. They're like, let's make him disappear slower than everybody else, and let's really hold on to his fear and his tears, right? And it's just like, all right, but like, why did everybody else just up and gone? Like, and all of a sudden, like they're like. You think Thanos is like, well, we'll let him suffer. Like, it's weird. Like, it makes no logical sense. And I know this is the film degree background of like analyzing shit more than they probably should be. But So I laughed at that part, and I got called an asshole for laughing. So, but in Endgame, I actually cried. But I cried with Tony Stark, with his.
Well, I think a lot of people did, and my wife kind of laughed at me because she thought I was crying for Stark, but she failed to. Well, actually, I teared up when Captain America was standing there by himself, and he was ready. When he put up his shield and he was ready to go to war. My dude didn't give a fuck. He said, "I can do this all day. I'm ready to go." You know what I'm saying? And then, hey, Cap.
That's such a badass moment, though.
On your left, you can't help but start crying when you see Sam Wilson, and then you see Black Panther come out of there. Oh man, it was good. And to believe it or not, that was Chadwick Boseman's last Marvel movie. You know what I'm saying? Was Endgame, and it does hurt. You know what I mean? It does hurt to. It just hurts because now everyone's like, we can't replace Chadwick Boseman. He's the best to ever play this role. I honestly disagree. And now I know we're going off topic of WandaVision and the spoiler alert and stuff, but I mean, at this point, it kind of leads to everything that we're talking about leads to WandaVision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it leads to all of this. So that's why I'm just like, you know what? There is one person that I think can fill that role for Black Panther, also T'Challa, and it's not Michael B. Jordan. Believe it or not, he was just in an Amazon movie, and his name is Aldous Hodges. He came out in this movie on Amazon.
One Night in Miami?
Yeah, One Night in Miami, and I think he would be completely perfect for the role. I've seen just about a lot of his work, everything that he's been in, just about. And I'm a fan. I've seen him do an English accent. I've seen him do an African accent. He's got the look. He's got the skin tone and the color to kind of match everything. He's got the acting ability, and he's got the adaptability to the role. Unfortunately, this man has been cast in the MCU, in the DC universe as Hawkman. We won't go into that because I have so much feelings for, what? Back to this though. This is still a great episode. If you want to go ahead and watch it, folks, I suggest you guys go and watch it. It'll definitely answer all of your questions in episode 4 if you do have most of those questions that I did. Like I said, 90% of my questions were answered, but another 10% of questions came up, which I'm sure they're going to address in a future episode. So if you guys are going to watch it, go ahead and watch it, because at this point, I'm just rambling.
Okay, well, on that note, let's quickly talk about another thing, because I want to hear your opinion if you've had a chance to watch it or not. Well, that Denzel Washington movie on HBO. Did you watch it?
Chaz, I have to keep this, as detailed as possible. It is so good, Chaz. Oh my God, you need to watch it. Oh, Denzel does Denzel perfectly in this movie. It's just another, to me.
It's the little things, right? That's what it's called.
It was the little things, actually. It was the little. It was the little things that got you, and you looked at it and you were like, this is classic Denzel, because they bring up all right, never mind. I can't.
No, don't spoil anything. I haven't seen it yet. I just want to hear your thoughts on it because I know you were going to watch it before the show.
It's good. Now, I actually stopped it. It's actually here on the TV now. I stopped it so I could jump on here. I'm only 52 minutes, 7 seconds into it. It's in the what I've seen so far. It's a slow build-up as any other Denzel Washington movie you've ever seen. But you can tell now that we're in the halfway point of this movie, it's some shit is about to go down. Okay, and that's all I'm going to leave it at.
Cool.
So,
well, I think that's a good note to end on.
Right.
Jay, where can people find you? And real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you for being the co-host on this episode while Patrick is out there being a badass and covering Sundance. So again, go check out PatrickBeattyReviews.com and read his latest stuff on those movies. But where can people find you, dude?
Dude, you know, you can find me on my own show. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional because like I'm happy to be bringing back, you know, let's talk about it. I only have 2 episodes out and an update video. I only have 3 episodes or 3 videos up on my channel right now, and I'm getting ready to officially launch my channel every single week, twice a week, which is a little bit much, but I'm bored. I got nothing else to do except for playing video games all day and watching my son grow and learn. So let's talk about it. We'll be back on Tuesday. And boy, do I have a show for you guys, because not only are we talking Quincy Jones, because it is Black History Month, which is why I'm bringing it back on Tuesday, because I also don't want it to mess up with my other show that I'm on, which is Button Mashing with Nate's Legend, my dude, and also with Dougals, our good friend there, Scott. I'm just super excited to see the progress that we've made with Button Mashing and Gaggle of Geeks and over under Artists Exposed. It's going really good for you, man. I've been wanting to tell you this for the longest time, but I'm so proud of you, man. Like, I love your vlogs. I love everything. Keeps me entertained. It lets me know that I'm not the only one in the world that feels the same way as you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's probably more of us out there, and it's good to see that you're not alone in the world. And I'm just super stoked, and I'm happy to be a part of Gaggle of Geeks. I'm happy to be a part of Button Mashing in any way possible. And who knows, maybe Gaggle of Geeks might be sponsoring, you know, a show of mine. Who knows? I might just bring it over and be like, Patrick, this is now a property of yours. Let's talk about it. You know? Who knows? I might just do it because, like, I've been here since day one, since he kind of launched this whole thing, and it's just amazing to see what Patrick has gone, where he's gone from, to the elevation of where he's at now, and where he's continuing to grow. You know, so shout out to Patrick. Thank you for the opportunity to be your co-host, Chaz. This was awesome. I had a feeling that I was going to get a call, so I made sure to watch Wandavision this morning when I was eating my breakfast. So just to be on the safe side, I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this, and I'm also going to make sure I'm watching the Denzel movie in case we talk about that. So this has been awesome. I had such a fun time with this.
No, seriously, thank you for coming on, and yes, thank you, Patrick, for starting this all off. Hopefully, you're having fun at Sundance. I'm jealous of you.
Very jealous of you.
Yeah, I was working all day today and just watching your live updates, dude. I was like, son of a bitch is watching a movie right now.
You said the same thing I did too, right? I was like, son of a bitch. I got to sit here and watch my kid try to destroy my blinds in my house. And what's Patrick doing? He's already on his 3rd movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, son of a bitch.
But yes, you could. I have a new episode out on my podcast over and Under Artists Exposed, where I talk with Corbin Bishop, which is an old college friend of mine, and we just talk about the pros and cons of going to school for film. So it was good to catch up. And Nate or Button Mashing with Nate's Legend. You guys doing that this Wednesday?
There will be an episode out Wednesday, I believe. I'm not sure. If anything, you're definitely going to see me again. So I'm not going to, you know, if no one can go on the show, then it's just going to be me. And I'm just going to be sitting here talking shit about video games. I already told you what the topic was going to be if it was just going to be me. So I have no chill. You know what I'm saying? There's no filter on me. I'm not going to stop because, you know, the show, like directors say, the show must go on. And I'm going to keep not just my dream alive, but I'm going to keep Nate's dream alive. I'm going to keep, you know, Patrick's vision going forward. The show must go on. So whether or not it's just me or not, doesn't matter. I'm keeping it going.
Well, Jay, I'm happy to see that you're trying to stay more consistent. I think that's cool and badass. So I'm excited to see what you do next. Anyways, yes, be sure to check out PatrickBeautyReviews.com with all Patrick's latest Sundance stuff, and check in next Wednesday for Button Mashing, and check in next Friday for yours truly's Gaggle of Geeks. So, without further ado, Hope everybody has a good weekend. Jay, happy
everyone.
Friday, man.
It is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Be safe.
Please be advised, Gaggle of Geeks contains strong opinions that may contain language unsuitable for young children. Now here are your hosts, Patrick Beatty and Chaz Campbell Evans.